Manchester Film Festival. Please tell us a little bit about Kid and who you are.
So I'm Ryan J. Smith. I'm responsible for all this. The movie's it's about a guy making an album, and he's dealing with his family, who are all they're a bit strange, dysfunctional, but they all love each other. So it's a bit like Coronation Street on steroids. I'm gonna pass this over to you.
Hi, I'm Harry McLafferty. I play Henry in the film. And yeah, like Ryan said, it's just about sort of navigating life and dealing with the hand that you're dealt, which isn't always the hand that you expect to get dealt, I guess. That's my take on it anyway. Brianne, what do you want to say?
Thanks, Harry. Hi, I'm Rianne Millington. I play Roxy. I play Harry's character's Henry's older sister. And yeah, it's very much just everyday life, kitchen sink drama, but with a bit more of a twist, I'd say.
What she said. Yeah.
Thank you. It's an interesting perspective. Like the synopsis and the blurb reads very much it's about a film, or it's a film very much about music production. Then kind of life happens in the background. But then when you're watching it, it can be the other way around. Like that mirror goes both ways. It's about the creation of art and the toll that takes on life, but also trying to find some freedom from life that can be quite strangling at times. From a writer's point of view, what was like inception of that? What was the first instance, and how did that grow?
When we were first doing the deal to make this movie, I was coming off the back of like 2 crime dramas, so I was all 15 rated out, to be honest, and I wanted to do something that was a bit more PG and a bit more in line with like Mrs. Doubtfire and like What's Eating Gilbert Grape and those kind of movies. Big was a big influence. It was just nice to do something finally that was a bit more PG, and it was more like characters just solving issues through, I don't know, learning to love each other and all that kind of thing, rather than like shootouts. And yeah, having a lot of music in the film helped as well, both diegetic, like you say, it's about the production of an album, so there's a lot of studio time in there, but also we've got friends of ours who are independent record artists lending their music to the film as well. So yeah, from a writing standpoint, it was sort of an antidote to coming off the back of 2 quite heavy crime dramas. And we had a great time making it as well. I had a good time. It was good in the edit to just be listening to music every single day, versus, gunfire and people crying. So it was nice. Yeah. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think, well, not personally.
We're good?
Yeah.
Cool, thank you. So the writing process sounds quite cathartic as a way to get things out that you held inside. The performances that you two give also seem to have come from a very personal place. Would you mind kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah.
Ladies first.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
For me, it was really interesting just to dive into Roxy's background. And for me, I just thought about personal moments, really, like you take from everyday life in your real world life, and bringing that into the character. And for me, it was very much thinking of like, it's not always healthy, but the worst case scenario, any painful moments in the past, and really just bringing that to the surface with Roxy, because again, this film really does cover not just family life, but, important things like endometriosis, which is very important and needs to be highlighted more, and I think the film really does that as well. Harry?
Thank you. For me, it was a bit of an interesting one because I feel like there isn't as much glamour in music production or a lot of creative industries as much as you might think when you're growing up. I know when I was younger, I was like, I want to be an actor, and you see like Graham Norton and stuff, and you think it's all that all the time, and it's not. And it's sometimes it is a career for people, it's a job, and you love it, and you hope that you can do something you love every day, but also it's, for Henry at least, it's like a means to an end. They're struggling, it's a struggling family, and it's not a very reliable income. So I think there's a lot of that is sort of passed through the script, which is quite nice to showcase that element that you don't often see in creative industries in the media.
Talking again about personal experiences and what you put in the film, there's a line very early on that alludes to sins of the fathers or something along those lines, where Harry's father is putting away the old guitar. That kind of quote and that kind of narrative style is originally attributed to Corinthians. Like, it's a very kind of traditional, old-fashioned story that's existed ever since we've had stories. Writing this film, how much of that was like, we've got that as a basis of kind of like, we know what the narrative is and we're going to put our spin on that, or how much was it that is something completely outside your experience and it's just what came from you naturally?
It's a funny one with this because we've talked about making this for Christ, like over 10 years now.
Time, yeah.
But the original draft under these companies that produced this film, it dealt a lot more with like sort of, teenage addictions, like, alcohol misuse and like pornography addictions and kind of like a lot of like young adult stuff. And originally it was a lot darker, the film, and it leaned a lot heavier on the kind of sins of the father thing and generational kind of traumas and that kind of thing. But I think with the finished film that we've ended up with, we've leaned a bit more into sort of making it more about the music, and a lot of it for me comes from my previous life as a concert technician. I've spent more time in recording studios than I have film sets, and that's as someone who runs a production company and is a full-time working film producer. I do have to admit I've spent more time backstage at concerts, dealing with microphones and record studios, that kind of thing, versus film sets. So it's kind of, for me, it's been cathartic in terms of like bringing those two worlds together, and a good portion of the cast as well are people who I know from my concert days, and a lot of the locations of places that I've worked as basically Henry's role in the film, like a concert technician. So, but yeah, in terms of catharsis and stuff and like generational things, that's where it kind of, I don't know, it's funny because you make a movie and you don't think it's autobiographical, but it sort of always is, without sounding like a film student or a letterboxd user. It's like they kind of, it is always autobiographical whether you like it or not. And it kind of, for me, this one in particular, because we've spoken about doing this in one form or another for 10 years plus, it's been, it's good that this one's gotten into a good festival as well, because I think this one, more than anything we've done, I think we've aced kind of telling a good story, sticking. I think the thing is as well, is like knowing what lane you're in and staying in it. That was the thing with this movie, and it's a case of like, we all went into it knowing, okay, PG, no swearing, no violence, it's all about the music. It is, a kitchen sink drama on steroids. Let's just commit to do the best version of that as possible. And yeah, like I say, Mrs. Doubtfire and Big and those kind of movies, those were the ones that we always had in the back of our heads when we were making the film and shooting, that kind of thing. So
at one point it was almost a musical, which thank God it wasn't.
It was.
Did you have to learn to play the guitar for this, or did you?
No, I'm self-taught. I'm not very good, as you can see in the film. It's all very raw, but it came in handy. There was definitely Alistair, who composed a lot of the score. He's great, and I was messaging him saying, I can't do that chord, mate. Any chance you can do an easier one? So he was great at like collaborating on that. But no, thankfully the guitar, it's something I picked up through life. My dad plays, and from quite a musical family, but it was nice to be able to do a bit of it in the film at least.
I forgot it was almost a musical, yeah.
It was.
No, anything to add?
Yeah, again, it was just such a great experience to actually work on a film like this. Again, I think we had a lot of fun making it as well.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think, again, it was just great to see these characters interact and really bring them to life. I mean, Harry and I have a really lovely scene in the film, which I think, is very sweet and a really meaningful moment between Roxy and Henry and that brother and sister dynamic. There's a playfulness in earlier scenes, and then there's that seriousness as well. And it just shows how these characters are all, together. And I think it's a really beautiful film. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
So what's next for Kid and for you guys, I guess, as well?
For Kid, it's a case of we'll stick it out there in the world and see how hard it bites, see how people respond to it. Skint and my producing efforts, we've got a lot on at the moment, but I don't know if I'm legally allowed to say. It's all very exciting, but I genuinely don't know if I'm allowed to say. But yeah, you two, anything coming up?
hand.
Thanks, Harry, again. To be honest, again, it was such a good experience working on this film. I'm really trying to get my name out there now. My roots are very much in theatre. I'd love to try and do more films and TV, and I think you'd want to do the same, right, Harry?
Yes, thank you. So for me at the moment, nothing coming up. I've been doing this for a while, but not really. This is probably the biggest thing, like the most serious thing that's become of this. So I've kind of had to shift gears a little bit. Hopefully something will progress. But other than that, just go back to the day job, really. Pass it down.
Yeah, I mean, me and Harry have been making movies since we were like 13. So yeah, for us, this is pretty special. So. And I've done this is my 6th feature film, I want to say. So I've been at this a lot for a long time. So no, it's just nice to be here and to showcase the film more than anything. Yeah.
Great stuff. Thank you. It's lovely to have you.
Yeah, nice to be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Alan.
for your time, guys.